Okay, we are 11. There is a lack of 3 person. Okay. 2 person. 2 people. Sorry. Okay, so we have finished the exercises and we are going to overwatch which structures are usually used, as for the repetition, are usually used for inversions. Okay, so yes, the theme for today is inversion. And okay, we have arrived to the title, but it's very easy. Okay, these are the usual structures you can find the inversions in. Okay, those in brackets can be used or maybe can be avoided. For example, never did I spend time in my grandma's house. Okay, if I use the before, I will add a second matrix that it means that after this moment, I spend more time. Okay, but never can be used. So the structure is, for most of these adverbs or adverbial paraphrases, yes, adverbial structures, adverbial locution. I forgot the name. Okay, so we have here that we have to use, first of all, auxiliary plus the noun plus the verb. Okay, in order to rewrite the sentence, adding a negative matrix, but without using the not. Okay, so the first one, we have the example here. Never in my life had I felt so embarrassed. Okay, and if we add here the before, the meaning changed a little. Okay, it seems that we can feel so embarrassed after this moment. Okay, but the rest of the sentence is exactly the same. Rarely and seldom. Do you know the meaning of these adverbs? I suppose yes.
It happens few times.
Okay, exactly. And here the structure is exactly the same. We have to put rarely prior to what we are going to write. Then the auxiliary, did, does, have, then the noun, and then the verb in the tense we want to use it. Okay, hardly ever, it has the same time. Okay, or the same time, the same meaning. It's something that is not going to happen. Okay, but in this case we have to use the structure where the suspensive points are. So we will use hardly ever plus the auxiliary plus noun plus verb, and then we are using the second part of the sentence that is going to be written in a positive form. Okay, so here we will have the noun plus the auxiliary if it is needed plus the verb. Okay, no sooner, this is important to pay attention to that, no sooner, and then the second sentence will start with than. Okay, last in comparison, because sooner is a comparative. Okay, then the next one, only after, only when, only if, or only then, we'll use the auxiliary noun verb structure afterwards. Only, and I won't write only auxiliary noun verb. Not only did happen, but also this other thing happened too. Okay, so we will use the auxiliary noun verb where the suspensive points are. Okay, not even, not until. Do you know the meaning of all these structures, of these adverbs and adverbial locations? Do you? I suppose yes, but I'm going to ask you. What's the meaning of not only, but also? Not only did I do something, but also I did another thing. What's the meaning of not only, but also? Exactly. And the next one, what's the meaning of not even? Even if you do it, yes, it's not included. Okay. Yeah, it's something that talk about the inclusion of other things, but yes, not only, yes, not until it demarks time. Okay, but it's the same. Not until something happened. Not I expect for some event to happen prior to do something. Okay. On no account, under no circumstance, by no mean, and in no way have the same meaning. Okay. So if you don't remember one of them, you can use whichever you like. Okay. And what's the meaning of all these four structures? Are you there? I need a signal.
There's not possibilities of
Exactly.
something.
Yes, yes. There is no possibility to something to happen. Yes. And the next one, nowhere. This, for you, maybe it's not very usual, but it's exactly the meaning of the composal word. Okay. No, where. And what's the meaning of where? Okay. Not other place as this one, this denying the possibility of this place. Okay. So if we are talking about the absence of this place, we are comparing it with all the other places in the world. Yes. So in this case, nowhere did the soldier seems more menacing than in the Maginot Line. Maginot Line is a place. Okay. Do you know what the Maginot Line is? Tell me that you have studied some story in your life, some history. I'm sorry. No. Second World War. Come on. No. I see that. Okay, the Maginot Line was the frontal line of defense of the French army, and was a very, very, very hard line to break into. And then the German people avoid that line crossing Belgium, so they invaded directly Paris without fighting in the Maginot Line. The Maginot Line was unbreakable, so they decided to avoid that. It's funny to think about this. You don't have to face the bad things in the world. You can win any war without fighting. And Lidl, okay, you know the meaning of Lidl. In this case, the knowledge of this man was small, okay? There was no clue about that, okay? So we have finished, okay? The important things on your book, okay, with the important things. The grammar on this part, on the inversion, is finished on your book. But here, I will provide you some tips, or more than a tip is where these structures are more commonly used, okay? They are used for locations, okay? You can change, you can invert the verb and the subject, usually when you have location adverbs, okay? Or location, adverbs or locutions of a place, okay? Of a where. In this case, under that tree sleeps only Larry. The usual structure could be Larry sleeps only. Well, Larry is the only one to sleep under that tree, okay? So we change the look. Oh, inversión. I hate my computer. Inversión. Okay, or we use this very frequently when we are doing, when we are talking about the direction of an action. Okay, if we want to focus in the place or the objective or the goal of the aim that better than the subjects who are making that action, we can invert the structure. In this case, it's more important that the room itself than the students who came to the room. So in this case, we have decided to put this in that way. Into the room came 2 students, okay? There is no more. What's the usual structure of that? 2 students came into the room, okay? We can invert that. In this case, we are not using auxiliaries, okay? For usual inversion, you don't need to use auxiliaries, but we are doing this with some particular adverb constructions, okay? The copular inversion is not going to be studied in this case, but it's only to change the attribute and the subject, okay? For example, for verbs like seems or is, or well, the verb to be or the verb to seem, we can invert the order of the adjective and the subject, okay? It's very easy. Bill is our representative, okay? But maybe we want to focus in the fact that it's a representative. So our representative is Bill, but Bill is still the subject, okay? So our representative is going to be in the beginning, and I have to change the attribute, then the verb, and then the subject. But it's not very important for this case, okay? You use it easily. And the last one, it's also very easy. You have seen that very frequently in book. For example, the usual way we are going to use a quote, we are going to put first the subject and then the verb. For example, Bill said we are going to win, or we are going to win, Bill said. Okay, and in this case, we can change also the structure, putting the verb prior to the name. We are going to win, said Bill, I'm sorry. And an important thing, if we don't have an auxiliary, we don't use weak pronouns, okay? Hello, Maria. We don't use weak pronouns. For example, we are not going to use him, he, I'm sorry. We are not going to use he instead of Larry because it sounds very weird for an English speaker. We are not going to use them instead of those, instead of those students because it seems very weird also. And we are not going to use say he. If we want to use he instead of Bill, we are going to say he said, as usual, okay? This is okay, but said he cannot be used for inversions. So please pay attention to these structures that can appear in the exam, okay? And with that, I don't know if you have any problem, if you have any doubt, if you want me to solve them. No? No question? Everything is okay? You think so? Yeah. Not only is okay, but I have learned more things than I thought. Okay, yes. Okay, so thank you very much. Well,